I say a priest, a rabbi, and a heretic walk into a brothel. And you just did too. You grin, and I stab you in your throat. There's no punchline. The punchline is I stab you in your throat because no motion occurred. You can ignore the jaw flapping part because it's inside a mask. No motion occurred. What happened is, the minute I say, a priest, you should stab me, I've created a tempo because I'm not thinking about fencing anymore. I'm 50% fencing, 50% telling a joke. And I'm also like 50% trying to set you up. So I'm like in the hole 50% right there. And the minute I say a priest, a rabbi, and a heretic walk into a brothel, you kind of grin and you think, I wonder where this leads. And now you are 50% thinking about defending yourself and 50% thinking about the fact that, we're going to get, a couple holy men and a heretic with craps. And the minute you're thinking about that, you've created an action by taking your brain off of fencing, and that's when I stab you in the throat. Your guard hasn't changed, you haven't moved, there's no momentum in the wrong direction, but your reaction times have gone to crap because you're thinking about this. The other classic example is, look at the fish. Yeah, you've heard that before. When you look at the fish, you're not looking at the sword. I have brought your eyes offline. Your sword is still online. Your body is still set correctly. Your brain is offline. Your eyes are offline. And if you can do that to your opponent, cool. You don't need to bring the sword offline. That is the tempo of stillness. There are other examples. People will go through mental resets every now and then. People will suddenly smell bacon on a list field. That smell will come wafting through and they'll go, bacon. And if you know that they've smelled bacon, you can stab them because they've created a tempo of bacon. The problem is that most of the time you can't do this. Unless there is a physical sign, it's almost impossible to know when somebody's thinking about bacon. And so you can't rely on tempos that have no external visual cue. You can try to create these, but you can't rely on them. And the only tempos you can truly rely on are the tempos that are evidenced by physical motion. And any physical motion can be exploited. Of course, the bigger the better. A physical motion of me dipping my point a quarter inch, probably not that exploitable. A physical motion of me transitioning from a sword foot back, point refused, to a sword foot forward, point forward, that's a big old motion. That's a big old chunk of time that you should jump all over. If it happens to be stupid enough to occur somewhere where you can get to them. That's most of it. The last little bit is, can you create a tempo out of measure? Now you remember, a tempo is defined as the time created by any motion taken within measure. So the obvious and easy answer is, no you can't. You can't, if you're standing way back here, you can do a tap dance, you can sing an aria from an opera, you can even take a nap. As long as the minute I approach to this little DEFCON 2 zone, you're ready to go. But there are ways to create tempos, sort of. Remember how I said you can sucker somebody by standing just outside this zone? You can do the same thing here. You can open yourself up to a full extension lunge and hope they're stupid enough to throw it. Because full extension lunges are a total commitment to something really far away with lots of time to reply. And so if you allow yourself consciously, not unconsciously, to be open to a full extension lunge just outside, they might just sneak that foot forward and throw it. And create not just a tempo, but a ginormous mother of all tempos that takes a lot of relativistic conscious time to come at you. And lunges like that tend to have an intended target that it's tough. And you can usually spot that target as that sword flies through space and time towards you and take appropriate action. The only time I throw full extension lunges is to wake my opponent up. If I ever kill with a full extension lunge, then I feel really dirty and kind of stupid, because it really shouldn't have hit. I just do it as a way to say, hey, wake up. All right, now let's fight. Because if I manage to stick you, on me that's like 12 feet away, if I cover 12 feet of ground and hit you at the end of it, Darwin says you shouldn't be playing right now. You're not on your A game. That is a rare instance, but it takes us to the far edge of measure and tempo, the very, very outside of space and time, which sounds really Star Trek-y, I know. Have we got any questions? Somebody's got to have something. I must have missed something. By the way, the sword marker is patented.
There's a 2-year wait on patents. We don't believe you.
I've been actually studying this for about 3.
Patent pending.
Yes, patent pending.
Don't patent the sword, patent the diagram.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the best visual representation of that space I have ever seen. And I spend a lot of time thinking about that, how to explain it to people.
Thank you. That's actually open source. Use it freely.
How much can the short fencers pay you to not teach this anymore?
No, the short fencers, if you use this right, if you are fundamentally lizard brain aware of this, it becomes very easy to step through this.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to know.
Oh, I see. You want to be the one short fencer who knows how to, well, because you do kill me.
No,
But, and the idea is simply that tall fencers have an advantage when neither side is aware of it. Once both sides become aware of this, it does level out with a slight edge to the tall fencers, and yet I mostly die on the swords of short people. Because once they've learned about this, then I start getting in trouble back about here. And I really start to have trouble back about here. So it's one of those things where tall folks have a guaranteed conflict-free shot on the way in. And if they don't get that shot, bad stuff. Any other thing? I have no idea what time it is. So
Whit, when you gave us the invitation.
Correct.
That I can bait you into attacking me.
correct.
But I don't want you to attack me, I want to attack you. So how, as an attacker, do I actively make you give me a tempo?
The easiest way is, there's a bunch of ways. The easiest way is to offer a target. The next way is to cause motion to occur. Step slightly out of line, out of the engagement range, and make them make it back up. Shift your guard in such a way that they will counter-position themselves. But do these things in small, covered manners. Threaten them in a way that isn't real. Kind of, just pop out long on them. And watch them scramble to realign their entire game to, he's not Italian. Do something, create an action. You have to go into counter tempo. Or wait for them to get bored. It's the dirtiest trick in the book. I hate that trick. I hate wait for them to get bored. Because unfortunately I have a short attention span, I love defense, and I will lose that game. I will get bored. When fighting wit, if you stand and stare at me long enough, yeah, I'll try to stab you. I will be the first one to create a tempo. Now, I'll try to bait you in with something, but if you just continue to stand there and stare at me, I'll get bored. I'll try to kill you. It's going to be my downfall. But you can do it. If you want to, you can stand there and you can wait. And eventually, somebody will take that fatal shot. And at that point, they have created the tempo. And the person who creates the tempo is the one who's in trouble. And I believe that we are just about out of time. So, I am going to grab a bunch of handouts. All this does is go over the terminology and tell you what it means. And if you have any questions, please pester me. I love this stuff. It's awesome. That's it.